Ever have this happen to you? Somebody walks up, says, "What do you do for a living?" You tell them, and they go, "Ooh, yeah." It's not fun. Happens to salespeople all the time. People think we're pushy. People think we're high pressure. And maybe we deserve that. Let's do something about it. The no pressure sales call. We're talking about that next on Purpose Under Pressure. Well, welcome back. My name's Brian. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about developing sales and leadership success on purpose and under pressure. It's brought to you by the professional sales and leadership training team at Sandler by the Ruby Group. You'll find them in Akron and Columbus, Ohio, in Jacksonville, Florida, also in Capital Region, New York. They do their work on purpose so you and your team can represent that way, to get the job done, to make the sale, to lead the team on purpose rather than under pressure. And there is a difference. You can connect with them online at therubygroup.sandler.com. The Ruby Group, coaching leaders to win when the stakes are high. So let's get cooking today. Let's change the name of the show to Purchase Under Pressure, because isn't that the way it often goes? When you think of salespeople, you just think of pressure. I've been doing this a long time, and I know people look at me and, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a salesman." "Oh boy," right? You might think all salespeople are pushy. You might be right, but let me explain that a little bit. And let me explain it maybe from a seller's point of view, because you need to know that buyers are gonna say no. There's lots of reasons for that. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, if you've ever been in a position to have to part with something of value to gain something of value, and the salesperson knows it and knows that if you don't buy it today from her, the salesperson knows you're going to buy it from someone else tomorrow. They know you need it. Maybe you say, as soon as you think about buying something, "No, I don't need that." Or, "Oh boy, my wife's going to kill me if I bring that home today." Or, "I don't need it today. Maybe I'll try tomorrow," right? There's all kinds of reasons not to buy. And so the salesperson gets pushy. I don't want to seem pushy. So let's work on that. Let's talk about the no pressure sales call. And who better to do it with than my friend from the Ruby Group? He's a partner and a trainer. He's Jordan Mullet. Jordan, welcome to Purpose Under Pressure.
Thank you, Brian. I'm glad to be here and excited to spend time with you.
Jordan, I'm worried about this because I know that no one wants to be a high pressure salesperson. You don't wake up in the morning, swing your feet out of bed and go to work and say, "I'm going to push somebody into something." What's pushy look like? We're not trying to do it on purpose, but when can even a good salesperson go over the line and actually be pushy?
Well, there's no question that salespeople feel pressure to sell. We have quotas, we have dollars. We're held to a standard. And if we don't meet the standards, we could potentially lose our job. We could not put food on the table. There's so many things that play into that. My daughter is selling fundraiser pizzas right now, and she has a goal, and she's a phenomenal, she puts the behavior in, gets it done. But last night she called her uncle and said, "Will you buy pizza?" And her uncle's response, she was on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Her uncle's response was, "Well, I've already had 3 people from that team call me."
See?
And she immediately put pressure on, right? Instead of going, "Oh, sorry, uncle. I guess I'm last. I probably won't get a pizza from you." She immediately put pressure on and said, "Well, you got to skip over all those and you got to buy from me."
Got to buy.
Why? Because she has a quota. She has a goal. She has a number in her head that she's hit. That makes it really difficult. That's where the pressure comes from the sales side.
It's also part of the ego too, right? I mean, she has friends and she has people that are doing it too. And her brother sold to somebody else, and she, your friend, best friends. I mean, how does that play into being a pushy salesperson?
Yeah, that's because, and it's interesting, inside of a sale, in the beginning, so many times it's positive. Like, there's a lot of times that the prospect will start sharing things and start saying things in a positive nature. And then all of a sudden the salesperson's like, "I got this one." And I call it putting our hooks in it. And all of a sudden emotionally we're like, "Yes, I got this." And then all of a sudden, as the logic comes in and they start thinking it through and they start saying, "Well, maybe it shouldn't be this month. Maybe, maybe it's next month." And all of a sudden you just feel that thing slipping away and you're just like, "I'm getting this thing."
You can't let go. You can't let go. And you say one more thing, and you say one more thing, and maybe you say please, and maybe you seem really pushy. Yeah. And so what's it mean then? Because we know we need to make the sale. She needed to make that sale. She wanted you to buy the pizza. What's a no pressure sales call even look like?
So, first of all, you do have to be aware of your emotions. And one of the things that we talk about for a salesperson is that there's really no room for getting your needs met on a sales call. So you
It's
sell
not about
first.
you. It's not
It's
about you at
not
all.
about you. And that's what's so difficult as a salesperson is emotionally you have to step out of the room. We have a term for it. We call it leave the child at the office, right? Leave the emotional side of you back there. You're just showing up as either logical or
Mhm.
supportive, and you're helping that other person make a good decision and work through all the things. Okay, and so then if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to push this down the road," then you can say, "Okay, that actually might sound like a good idea. If we do that, what are the consequences of that? Like, is that the best decision? Like, so we can move it down, but then what happens? Are you comfortable with that? Yeah." And you can talk that through instead of being like, "That's not going to work. Like, if you push this off, like it's going to cost you this, this, and this." Right. So just being able to leave those emotions behind.
And so the first thing I thought of when I heard you say that, I was like, well, the buyer might still think that's a close or a push or something of that sort, but it's different because you just said, you might try to hold on. Wait, what? But that's actually a pattern interrupt, isn't it? The buyer wasn't expecting you to say, well, okay, but what if? That's okay. Is that not pushy?
Well, it's important that you accept the no first. I had a deal recently, and the gentleman was so excited about working with me that when I met him the first time through a friend, I asked him if he has a card, and he offered me his debit card as a joke.
That's
Like,
funny.
and
That's
I'm
really
like,
funny.
it is, and he was being like he was just being fun. And so
Yeah.
when we got on the call, when we started talking it through, he was very excited about it. And about halfway through, he said, "Oh shoot, I should probably tell you. Uh, I'm limited on my growth opportunity in the next 2 years because we're limited on how much inventory we can hold because we can't build, and we're planning on building in 2 years. So I really can't add a lot of accounts until then." First time that it occurred to him.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So he brings
Okay.
that on the table. Well, that the deal's dead, right? It's
Yeah.
immediately dead. So I begin to work it to a close, right? I've got to get to the point. I've got to like slow down my thinking. Like we were about halfway through the sales call, and it's just like choo 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 choo. So
Yeah.
as I'm bringing it down there, he's disappointed,
Mm.
right? I'm
Yeah.
disappointed.
Because
So
he
we're just
wanted it and you wanted it.
yeah,
Everybody feels good about everything, and all of a sudden he can't have it.
yes. So we had to get to a no, and we had to be confident in that.
Mm.
Once
Get
we
to a
got to
no.
once we got there and we were okay, then I said, there are some other options that are not as big a thing that we could look at.
Mm.
And he said, yeah, what's that? And now together we started looking at what are other options,
Mm.
right? But it wasn't until we went there. That's what's so difficult is to actually get to the place where it's dead, like it's gone, right? Let it die. It's like if it's a motor, you have to turn the motor off, the engine has to shut down, the ticking has to stop.
Yeah.
And then you can say, well, there are some other options. Should we even look at it?
I like the fact that you're offering other options because you've already said you left your child at home. You took the emotion out of it. It wasn't about you. He gave you the debit card, but then he pulled it back and you said, that's okay. How can we make this work for you? So you're really, again, focused on that customer's best interest. You know he needs it. You know he wants it. You know he ought to have it, can't have it. How can we make this a great, no pressure call?
Yeah.
How then, though, Jordan, do we make that sale? It's if we get good at saying it's okay, you don't have to buy. Well, then we're not going to be great salespeople. We're not going to hit our quotas. That's part of it too. How are we going to make the sale if we don't push?
Okay, so you got a couple things going on there. Number one is it's our responsibility to meet with as many people as possible and to uncover which ones need us.
Okay,
Right? And if we're not prospecting at the level that we need to, which means that our pipeline's not full and we don't have 8 people behind that person,
that
then we
changes the
have to
story,
make
doesn't it?
that one work.
Yep.
Right. So now, because of the pressure
Mhm.
that if this one dies, I don't have anything behind it.
I've
Now
got to go.
I have to make that sale. Right. Which then allows me, like, if you think about emotions, now I'm back here. Me and the child are talking. I got to have this. What's going to happen if I don't? Versus in the front of our head where we're thinking, okay, um, what should I do here? Now, in that situation, right? I offered a small step forward and he was able to take that step, right? So it made sense that way. But again, I had to be completely okay with walking away from that.
Yeah.
So behavior is the one thing. Number two is dealing with the emotions. So again, you have to deal with it over and over again. And you think you're okay, and then halfway through the sale goes a completely different direction than you're expecting. Next thing you're back on your heels, you're trying to figure things out, like you're sideways, and you don't even realize all of a sudden pressure just starts ramping up.
And I want you to help a salesperson understand now from your point of view, and this will be our final question. When you pull back and you allow that room to not be full of pressure, and you say, okay, you're not ready yet, that's fine. I'll go talk to somebody else. Like, you don't say that, but that's the way it feels.
Yeah.
What do you often see if the seller is just throwing out objections? Don't want to, can't do it, got to check with my wife, got to check, got to do. And you say, okay, I'll go talk to somebody else. What do you see happen sometimes? Does that buyer feel a little pressure? He still wants to buy.
Yes. Without question is that if there's still something there that the buyer wants to buy, it uncovers it.
It does.
So as soon as you pull back, it's going to reveal. Because as many stories I can give you as that gentleman who actually went forward with something, I've got how many examples on the other side where they're like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Like the decision's already made. Most salespeople continue to sell right past there. And then that's when they get the think it overs at the end. That's where they get all the different things because they miss the fact that the buyer's already made the decision that it's done.
Yeah.
And so all you're trying to do is find out what the truth is because that's what a good conversation is between a salesperson and a buyer. It's just uncovering the truth, finding out what's really going on, and then being okay with it.
Yeah. I think that's the key. Once you're okay with it, once you're good with it, I'll tell you this quick story. I'll probably tell the story again, but I have an orange Jeep in my garage right now, and I have it because the salesperson said, look, if you don't want it, someone else will buy it. I mean, he flat out used those words. I think it was true. I don't know it was true. He might have been sitting on that car for months. I don't know. But I do know that I own it now because I wanted it, and he let me buy it. He didn't pressure me into buying it. He let me buy it. It's pretty cool.
Everybody buys in spite of pressure, not because of it.
What does that mean?
So when somebody's pushy and I don't have any other options, I will buy from that salesperson, not because of the salesperson, but in spite of the salesperson. If I have other options, I will walk away 10 out of 10 times. People buy in spite of pressure, not because of it. It's very important that salespeople understand that.
So difficult, and it's so hard to learn. And a salesperson that's not trained well isn't going to just automatically fall into that frame of reference. And I think, folks, if you have ever felt like I pushed too hard, or I pushed them away, or I pushed and I got the sale and I wish I wouldn't have, you feel a little different afterwards. It's funny, if you're not a seller right now, you're realizing, holy cow, there's a lot that goes on to being a seller. And if you are a seller, you're like, yeah, this stuff is really hard. And so, folks, if you are interested in reaching out to Jordan or anybody over at Sandler by the Ruby Group, I suggest that you do. Jordan, he's a partner and trainer at Sandler by the Ruby Group. Hey, thank you for being our guest. We could talk about pressure because that's just what we live in. Thank you for being on the show, Jordan.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
You'll find Jordan on LinkedIn, or you can learn more about the Ruby Group and Sandler sales training at therubygroup.sandler.com. Folks, thank you for being here. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. And don't forget to like us or follow us or subscribe. We do air new episodes multiple times a week, and I don't want you to miss any. So if you do subscribe, you'll be alert, and you'll know that there's something to learn from Purpose Under Pressure. And so until next time, no matter how high the pressure, stay on purpose.